Have you ever noticed a younger woman smile at an older man and wondered, what does that smile mean? Is it simply politeness, or could it signify something deeper, something that many older men might completely miss? In today's world, men are often led to believe that their value diminishes with age. But what if I told you that this smile is a subtle yet powerful sign of respect, recognition, and admiration for the qualities that older men embody: strength, wisdom, and experience? Stay with me through this video because what you're about to discover might just change the way you view yourself, especially as you get older. You'll learn how the modern world has conditioned many older men to feel invisible and why that couldn't be further from the truth. This video isn't just about what younger women notice in older men. It's about understanding the deeper layers of value that come with age, wisdom, emotional resilience, and the quiet confidence that makes an older man stand out in a chaotic world. By the end, you'll understand why aging doesn't make you irrelevant. It makes you more valuable than you might think. We'll explore how a simple smile can hold the key to unlocking your true worth and why, when you embrace your age, you can command the respect and attention you deserve. If you've ever felt overlooked or undervalued as you age, this video will give you the perspective shift you need to walk through life with renewed confidence and purpose. Don't miss out. Watch until the end to fully grasp the timeless qualities that make you a force to be reckoned with. If you are not subscribed, I recommend subscribing and activating the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support means a lot to me, and if you enjoyed this video, you can help me continue spreading the valuable lessons by liking and sharing it. If you like the topic of this video, please comment 1. If you don't, please comment 0 to let me know how I can improve and make better videos for you. Now, let's begin. When an older man receives a smile from a younger woman, he might instinctively brush it off, thinking it's merely a polite gesture, a fleeting formality, or something that doesn't carry any real weight. It's easy to dismiss such moments to convince oneself that there's no deeper significance. But the truth is, that smile often carries a much more profound message than any man could realize. It's not just a fleeting expression. No, it's a powerful, subtle acknowledgement of something far deeper, something rooted in the very essence of what it means to be human. It is a recognition, an unspoken appreciation for qualities that transcend the superficial and speak to a deeper truth within us all. Younger women, especially, are attuned to certain qualities that resonate with the heart of human nature. They are, perhaps unknowingly, drawn to strength. But not just physical strength. They are intuitively connected to emotional, psychological, and intellectual power. This strength doesn't need to be loud or brash. It doesn't need to shout. No, it's the kind of strength that quietly radiates from within, the kind that shows through in the way a man carries himself, in the way he moves through life with a sense of calm, certainty, and resilience. This presence, this steadiness in the face of life's chaos, is magnetic. It's something almost primal, embedded in the very fabric of what it means to be human. Women, whether they fully realize it or not, instinctively recognize this. When they encounter an older man who has weathered life's storms, a man who has faced trials and emerged stronger, something within them responds. It's not a loud or dramatic response, but it is there, a subtle yet powerful recognition of something precious. That smile. It's an acknowledgement. It's the way they say, "I see you. I recognize the strength, the wisdom, and the experience you carry." It's not necessarily about romantic attraction, though that can happen too. More often, it's a deep appreciation for a man who has lived, who has struggled, and who continues to stand with dignity. This type of man is rare in today's world, a world where self-doubt and uncertainty plague many, where so many are consumed by the fleeting trends of youth and novelty. But for a younger woman, that smile is a moment of connection, an acknowledgement of something steady and grounded. In a world that rushes forward, always looking ahead to what's next, it's easy for many to forget the wisdom of those who have walked before them. But younger women, still finding their way through the complexities of life, can often sense when someone has already traversed the difficult road. They feel it in their bones. They know that the strength they see in an older man comes from experience, the experience that only time can give. That smile, then, is not only a gesture. It is a silent tribute to something ancient, something universal. It is a reflection of a time when elders were revered and right after for their wisdom and guidance. A time when their presence alone brought comfort, stability, and assurance to those around them. Even in modern society, where we sometimes forget these old values, that deep-seated instinct to recognize strength remains within us. When a younger woman smiles at an older man, she might not even understand why she does it. It could be a fleeting moment, an automatic response to something she finds comforting or reassuring. But in that instant, she is acknowledging more than she knows. She's tapping into something that has been passed down through generations. She recognizes a quiet, powerful force that too many people overlook. Strength that comes not from the physical but from the emotional and mental resilience built over a lifetime. It's something that cannot be faked and something that modern society often overlooks. Sadly, many older men don't see this. They've been conditioned by the world around them to believe that aging makes them irrelevant. They're made to feel like they have no place in a society that worships youth and novelty. They start to believe that their best days are behind them, that their wisdom is no longer valuable, and that they are somehow invisible. This is the tragedy that so many men fall victim to. They are told, subtly or overtly, that their time has passed. And in believing this lie, many retreat from life convinced that they are no longer needed, no longer important. But the truth is so much more powerful than that narrative. Age does not diminish a man's value. It magnifies it, if he has lived his years with purpose, with discipline, with resilience. The wisdom he carries, the lessons learned from years of experience, are irreplaceable. These are the qualities that continue to matter, now more than ever. Yet so many men, trapped in the narrative that they are no longer relevant, let these qualities wither. They retreat into the shadows, believing that they have nothing left to offer. But the truth is, they have everything to offer. And that smile. It's a quiet yet powerful reminder that they are still seen. They are still valued. And if they dare to recognize that, they'll find a world that is waiting for them to step back into the light, where they belong. In a world where the value of traditional masculinity is often questioned, it's impossible to ignore that younger women, despite growing up in an environment that increasingly undermines classic ideals of manhood, still possess a deeply rooted, instinctive recognition of what truly makes a man valuable. They are drawn not to the shallow traits that society often elevates, but to the type of strength that cannot be measured by muscle alone. This is the strength that comes from having faced hardship, from having overcome challenges, and from having developed the kind of wisdom that only life's toughest moments can bestow. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. It's the strength that radiates from a man who has persevered and evolved, not just physically but emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. This kind of man, who has built himself into someone capable, someone with depth, integrity, and true insight, does not go unnoticed. Even when society, in its narrow-minded focus, tells him that he is outdated or irrelevant, some still recognize his worth, especially younger women who, on a subconscious level, understand that true value is not found in fleeting trends but in timeless qualities. The tragedy, however, is that so many older men fall into the trap of believing this lie, that they have become irrelevant, that their value has diminished with age. As society glorifies youth and the hustle of constant achievement, these men begin to internalize this distorted message, allowing it to chip away at their confidence. Slowly, they start to lose their sense of self-worth. They stop carrying themselves with the purpose and vigor they once did, and before long, they fade into the background, unsure of where they fit into a world that seems to prize novelty over wisdom. This is a tragedy that is not a natural outcome of aging. It is the consequence of a system that has, over time, failed to recognize the unparalleled importance of experience, leadership, and the deep, valuable wisdom that only comes with time. The harsh truth that many older men forget is that they still have an immensely important role to play in the world. The world still needs them, even if society refuses to acknowledge this outright. They are the backbone of what we truly need to move forward: guidance, emotional depth, and steadiness in an era of chaos and uncertainty. And yet, when a younger woman smiles at an older man, it's not out of pity or obligation, as some may mistakenly think. No, it's because she senses, perhaps in ways words cannot explain, that something is lasting and meaningful about him. He is a man who has lived, who has endured, who has learned, and who continues to radiate a quiet strength. The question, then, is not whether others recognize this, but whether the older man himself can still see the richness within him. What is even more remarkable is that this recognition is not a passing trend or a modern fascination. It's an instinctive, ingrained truth that has been part of human nature for centuries, millennia even. Women, especially younger women, have always sought out qualities like stability, wisdom, and strength in men. This is not a shallow desire or a superficial need. It's a deep-seated understanding of what is truly important in a partner. Women are not simply looking for wealth, status, or fleeting power. They are looking for security, guidance, and the presence of a man who knows himself deeply, a man who is in control of his own life, emotionally and psychologically. In a world that often feels out of control, where everything changes rapidly and unpredictably, women instinctively recognize the value of a man who has mastered the art of self-discipline, emotional control, and inner peace. These are qualities that no amount of external wealth or status can replicate, and they are, without question, some of the most attractive traits a man can possess. This attraction to stability is often misunderstood. Many might think that stability is about financial security, but true emotional and psychological stability goes far deeper than that. It's about having a solid foundation, one that is not easily shaken by life's inevitable ups and downs. It's about a man who, when faced with stress or uncertainty, doesn't crumble, doesn't lash out, but stands firm, composed, and confident in his sense of self. Such a man becomes a beacon, someone who, without effort, attracts those around him, including younger women, who seek the calm and strength he offers. There is no need for bravado, no need for external validation when a man carries himself with a quiet confidence that comes from having faced and overcome life's most difficult challenges. Sadly, many fail to recognize the rarity of true masculinity in today's world. In a time when so many younger men struggle with their identity, their purpose, and their place in the world, the older man, who has lived through trials, who has learned from his mistakes, and who has refined himself through the years, becomes a rare gem, a man who stands apart. He offers something unique, something deeply needed in a society that seems increasingly lost. He represents the kind of stability that can only come from experience, the kind of wisdom that only age can bring. In a world of chaos and confusion, the older man who has cultivated emotional control, self-discipline, and integrity becomes an anchor, someone whose presence is not just appreciated but essential. And perhaps the greatest gift he can give the world is not only his wisdom but the recognition that his value, far from fading, is only becoming more vital with time. When a younger woman smiles at an older man, it is not simply a passing, casual gesture. It is something so much more profound, an unconscious acknowledgement of the strength, wisdom, and resilience he embodies. It's not necessarily about romantic attraction. It's an instinctive response to the energy of a person who has weathered the storms of life and emerged stronger, more grounded. Women, often without even realizing it, recognize and are drawn to men who exude that strength, that sense of stability, that confidence that has been built over a lifetime. It's a silent recognition of all that he has cultivated, the lessons learned, the battles fought, and the strength he carries. Unfortunately, many older men don't see this in themselves, trapped in the belief that their worth has faded with age, not realizing that the very qualities they have honed through the years are still incredibly valuable, whether the world admits it or not. One of the greatest mistakes an older man can make is to surrender to bitterness, to let life's challenges defeat him. Life, with all its ups and downs, is bound to bring hardship, failure, disappointment, and loss. These are unavoidable and part of the human experience. But it's how a man responds to these trials, how he allows them to shape him, that ultimately defines who he becomes as he ages. Some men use their struggles as stepping stones, turning adversity into wisdom, strength, and resilience. They emerge from hardship like a fine wine, growing richer and more valuable with time. Others, however, allow those very challenges to crush their spirit. They turn inward, their hearts heavy with resentment, believing that their best years are long behind them. They see themselves as relics of the past, useless and irrelevant. And this is where the tragedy lies, because the truth is, when a man allows himself to fall into that mindset, he loses not just his joy but his entire essence. The key difference between these two paths is critical. Women, especially younger women, can sense this difference from a mile away. There is nothing that feels more unattractive than a man who has given up on life. A man who carries the weight of defeat, whose every step feels like he's dragging the remnants of his regrets behind him, does not inspire admiration or respect. His vitality, his ambition, his energy, it's all gone. He may have once been full of purpose, full of drive, the kind of man who lit up a room just by walking in. But now, he carries his defeat like a cloak, and in doing so, he makes himself invisible. It's not about his age, it's about his energy, the way he perceives himself. And if he sees himself as worthless, that is the way the world will see him. On the flip side, there is something undeniably magnetic about a man who refuses to be crushed by life's hardships. He might have scars, both physical and emotional, but those scars are not marks of weakness. They are proof of survival, of a life lived fully. They tell the story of someone who has fallen and risen again, who has faced loss but continues to march forward with courage, who has endured failure but refuses to let it define him. This is the kind of man who commands attention without uttering a word. There is a quiet power in him that draws people in, that makes others want to listen, to follow, to respect. He is a man who keeps learning, keeps growing, and keeps contributing to the world around him, no matter his age. He remains engaged with life because he knows that life is not over just because the years have passed. He refuses to let bitterness steal his spark, and in doing so, he radiates a quiet confidence that is impossible to ignore. Women recognize this energy, often on a subconscious level. A younger woman may not always be able to articulate why she feels a certain way about a man, but she knows. She knows the difference between a man who has maintained his vitality, his curiosity, high-end sense of purpose, and a man who has given up. And she respects him for it. She doesn't respect him because he's chasing after youth or trying to be someone he's not. She respects him because he refuses to be extinguished. After all, he carries within him a spirit that refuses to fade, no matter how many years have passed. This is the truth that many older men fail to see. They believe that once they reach a certain age, they have nothing left to offer. But the truth is, the most powerful thing they can do is to remain engaged, to continue growing and building themselves, and to refuse to let the past dictate their future. Strength, wisdom, and resilience do not fade with age. They only deepen. The world may not always acknowledge it, but those qualities are still deeply respected. And when a younger woman smiles at an older man, it is not just a polite gesture or a meaningless act. It is a reflection of the strength she senses in him. She may not fully understand why she respects him so much, but she can feel it. His presence, his confidence, his stability. Yet so many older men dismiss this recognition, thinking it's nothing more than politeness, failing to see the profound truth of human connection. It's a moment, a gesture, that speaks volumes, if only they could hear it. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Women, whether they realize it or not, are naturally drawn to men who embody strength and certainty. And this isn't just about physical strength, the kind that comes from hours at the gym, but about a much deeper, more profound force. It's the energy of a man who knows himself, a man who has lived, who has weathered storms and come out the other side, not just surviving but thriving. This kind of man doesn't wear his confidence on his sleeve, seeking attention or validation from others. No, his mere presence commands respect. He has built his life with wisdom, resilience, and integrity. He does not need to prove anything to anyone. His journey, his lived experience, speaks volumes, even when he says nothing at all. It's impossible to ignore this energy, especially for younger women who often find themselves struggling with their sense of self, still trying to figure out who they are, what they want, and where they fit in the world. That smile, oh, that smile, is so much more than a mere gesture of attraction, though yes, there's often a touch of romance in the air. But I believe it goes deeper than that. It's an instinctive, almost unconscious response, a quiet nod of respect, a flicker of admiration, or perhaps even a spark of curiosity. It's the unspoken recognition that this man, this older man, stands apart from the rest. In a world that feels chaotic and unstable, he exudes calm, certainty, and an authenticity that's hard to come by. It's as if the universe itself has etched wisdom and grace into his soul, and we can't help but notice. A man who has built himself into someone strong and capable, who has lived through enough to understand what matters, will never go unnoticed. Not truly. But here's where the real tragedy lies. The problem arises when these older men, who, by all rights, should feel proud and confident in their skin, fail to see themselves the way others do. If a man has internalized the belief that his value has diminished with age, that he is no longer relevant, or that his best years are behind him, he can easily overlook these quiet signals of admiration and respect. And, oh, how heartbreaking that is. When a man starts to believe that he is invisible, he starts to live as though he is. He dismisses the small gestures, the smiles, the glances, thinking that they mean nothing. But in truth, they mean everything. He is still noticed, still seen, still respected, but only if he recognizes it. Confidence is key. A man who knows his worth does not second-guess these interactions or shrink away from them. He welcomes them because he knows that he has something valuable to offer. He doesn't just assume that people are humoring him. He understands that he still commands respect, whether it's vocalized or not. That smile, that small moment of acknowledgement, is a reminder. It is a gift that says strength, wisdom, and integrity never truly fade. No, they don't fade. They only get more refined, more and more layered with age. The question is whether a man has the awareness to see that, to accept it, and to continue carrying himself with the same dignity and confidence that he's always had. Some men, sadly, let this slip away. They buy into the dangerous myth that age means obsolescence. But let me tell you this, it's just not true. The world still needs men who are grounded in their experiences, men who understand life not just in theory but in practice, men who have survived hardships and learned from them. These men carry something that no young man can get with a Google search or a self-help book, deep, hard-earned knowledge. And yet, so many of them fail to recognize their value. They've absorbed the toxic belief that their contributions no longer matter, that they've outlived their usefulness and that it's time to step aside. But that couldn't be farther from the truth. Experience, resilience, wisdom, these things don't lose their value with time. They become more essential. They are the bedrock upon which future generations will stand. Men who have lived with purpose, who have faced down their fears and emerged stronger, are the very pillars society still needs today. It doesn't matter that the world seems to favor the young and the trendy. The quiet strength that comes with age is not just valuable, it is irreplaceable. These men are like diamonds, refined by pressure and time. Yet, so many choose to retreat, to hide in the shadows, believing that their time is over. But this, too, is a lie. The stability, the insight, the leadership that comes with age, it's as relevant today as it ever was. What has changed is the willingness of men to step forward, to lead, to be visible. Younger women, despite growing up in a world that often dismisses traditional masculinity, still instinctively recognize strength. They see it in a man who is composed, who is secure in himself, who does not bend in the face of adversity. These qualities, though perhaps less celebrated in today's world, are no less admired. A man who walks with quiet authority, who doesn't flinch in the face of challenges, is the man who will stand out, no matter his age. And yet, so many older men feel invisible. But I can't help but wonder, are they truly invisible, or have they simply stopped carrying themselves with the dignity they deserve? Aging itself is not what makes a man lose his influence. No, it's his response to aging that matters most. A man who stays engaged in life, who keeps growing, and who continues to lead and contribute will always be noticed. The respect he earns may not always come with loud applause or visible accolades, but it is there. It's a quiet reverence, the kind that doesn't need to shout to be heard. And if that smile, that small moment of recognition, is any indication, it's proof that a man's true worth never truly fades. It only becomes more powerful with time. As we wrap up today's conversation, I want to take a moment to reflect on everything we've discussed. We've explored the incredible value that comes with age, the strength, wisdom, and resilience that older men bring to the world, and how it's so often overlooked or underestimated. We've seen how life experience shapes us in ways that no youth can replicate, and how embracing our worth can make all the difference in how we are seen and respected. So, what have you learned from this video? I encourage you to take a moment and think about one key insight you'll carry with you moving forward. Whether it's recognizing your value, acknowledging the quiet respect around you, or embracing the strength that comes with living a life of purpose. What will you bring to practice in your own life? Feel free to comment below and share one thing that resonated with you the most. I'd love to hear how these ideas can make a difference in your journey. If you like this video, please leave your comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more insightful content. Thank you so much for watching. Let's continue this journey together.